Warning! Hey, dumbass! This show is called The Offenders. So if you hear something that offends you, then we are doing our fucking job. So quit crying. Love the Offenders.
Welcome back to another episode of the Offenders Podcast. As always, I'm Kyle, joined by my co-host, Evan.
Minasan! Sashiburi desu ne. Excuse me. Hey, everybody. It's been a minute. Sitting next to me is my good buddy, Shane.
Hello.
All right. So, this week, we have a couple things we want to talk about. Some articles, some events, perhaps.
Yes.
So, the first one, I think this was actually announced a couple weeks ago, maybe.
Hold on. I'm going to play a game. I'm going to give the people a chance to figure out what we're going to say before we say it. By quoting something that has to do directly with it. How must I prepare? You must ask yourself. Should I jump off the tallest building in the world? Should I lay down in the lawn and let him run over me with lawnmowers? Should I go to the continent of Africa and let them trample me with raging elephants?
Oh, you're talking about the World Wildlife Federation.
Yinks.
Those fucking pandas with chairs. They're crazy, man.
That's why he's here, ladies and gentlemen.
To make that joke, so I'm out. Bye.
See you later. Shane.
So, yeah, Shane's close. But it's no longer called the World Wildlife Federation. It's now called the World
Wildlife Entertainment.
World Wildlife Entertainment. Correct. So the WWE
it should be World Wildlife Extermination, since they took their name to just kill all the animals, and there'll be no need for the World Wildlife Federation anymore. I'm sorry.
You can't joke about killing animals.
They can't kill all the animals until at least have a chance to taste each one of them. So
fucking napkin heads.
But yeah, so the WWE announced back in the beginning of January that they are launching a network on February 24th.
Hell yeah.
Now, this network is not like a typical TV network, so you won't be able to get it through like your cable or satellite provider or whoever you use. It's going to be one of these on-demand services that you use like an app through your phone or tablet or even computer, like an iOS device or Android or whatever. But what it is, it's going to be $9.99 a month, and it has an initial 6-month commitment. So that probably means up front you've got to pay $60, and you get 6 months. And I'm guessing after that it's $9.99 each month once that 6 months has passed. It didn't really, looking through the FAQ on it, they don't really go into that. But what you get for that is you get all the pay-per-view events that occur, including WrestleMania. So that alone is like almost $600 a year to get all those, and you're getting it for basically $60 or $120 for the whole year.
Is WWE paying you?
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
That was a hell of a sales pitch. You're basically getting $600
well, it's
for
true.
$60.
It's true.
That's
that's
damn true.
That's how I used to sell stuff to people all the time.
By telling the truth, you better stop it.
No, I just throw a lot of numbers at them, and they get really confused. And they're like, this guy knows what he's talking about, so I'm just going to buy it.
Or they were terrified. It's like this. I was walking, this asshole just hit me in the head with a 5. Just throwing numbers at me.
You know why he was throwing numbers? You know why? Because he was from Nastyville. Nasty boy.
Okay, there we go.
I'm just going to comment only in wrestling puns.
You could probably do it.
I am.
But yeah, so not only do you get those, though, but they're also creating these like programs, these on-demand programs just for this network. So you won't be able to watch them on Sci-Fi or USA or whoever airs the other WWE shows. But those shows that air on those networks, you will be able to watch on this WWE network. Okay, so right now, how good does that sound if you're a wrestling fan? I mean, Evan, you watch wrestling, Correct.
How does that sound? It sounds just too sweet.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say just incredible.
Just incredible.
But there's more. That's not it. So say you're somebody like me who you don't.
You're
watch
somebody
wrestling.
like me.
Okay, you're somebody like moi. You don't watch current wrestling, so you don't really know who these people are. Like all you know is that John Cena is a shitty person that nobody likes. Who is John Cena? I don't know.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Hey Evan, who's John Cena?
He's like a little nugget that you can't flush.
I tell you who John Cena is. John Cena ain't nothing but little Jimmy. John Cena's little Jimmy.
I don't recognize that one.
That's K-Quick, a.k.a. Ron Simmons. Ron Simmons.
Ron Simmons.
The Truth, excuse me. Ron, I forgot his last name. K-Quick, The Truth. He was a nutty guy. He was great. That was nuts.
But so yeah, if you don't keep up with modern wrestling, they will also have WWF, WCW, and ECW old pay-per-view events that you can watch also at launch.
Yeah, Starcade, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go back and watch the old Hell in a Cell match between Cactus Jack and Undertaker? Do it. That's for you to do. They've made that possible for you.
My Undertaker. You can go back, and just like Ryan Smith will never let us forget when Hulk Hogan at Bash of the Beach 96 comes out and goes, "It wasn't supposed to go down that way, brother." You can watch that and relive that moment for yourself.
He said that so much. Like I attribute that to him instead of Hulk Hogan these days.
Who is Hulk Hogan? He's a Ryan Smith impersonator. I just love hearing him say that shit. He knows the whole fucking line. I was so mad because he hit Macho Man. They turned on Mach.
But yeah, man, that's a pretty good deal. I mean, that's a damn good deal, truthfully.
I'll say this. I am very vocal to anybody who's ever talked wrestling with me of my distaste for the current product, which WWE is displaying, so to speak. Their old stuff is great. The stuff that they own the copyright to is great. All the old stuff, the territory wrestling that you're going to be able to get for this is a really good deal. But I am not going to pay 6 months up front to get this. I will wait until they've made so much money that Vince McMahon can fucking Scrooge McDuck from his bathroom to his bed and swim through the money, and then he's like, "I don't care. It's only going to be $10 now." And then I'll pay the $10 and I'll join.
So, you're cheap, and that's why you're not going to get it?
No, because I can get it for free. I'm resourceful.
You're a thief. Okay.
It doesn't matter what you think.
No, I see both sides of it, because basically it's like you're paying for, it's like a contractual agreement, like if you do some kind of your insurance for your car, like I got to pay 6 months up front or whatever. But the reason I see them doing that is because if they didn't do that, most people would probably just sign in, download what they want, and then be done with it. And so then you basically $10 and they just basically downloaded all the content and it's gone. But if they at least can guarantee you're paying for 6 months, whether you use it for 6 months or not, they'll make their money back on it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but they will still be airing, at least for right now, everything as usual on TV, and you will still be able to purchase pay-per-views from on-demand services.
That is correct. You will still be able to purchase pay-per-views, and then SmackDown, Raw, and was it Main Events, the other one?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to order like more than one, where it's going to add up to $60, why not just pay the $60?
All you got to do is just order 2 of them, because
I mean, really,
like $50.
If you're already going to get more than one pay-per-view, why not just pay the $60 and have the whole service?
Shane,
I
is
agree
WWE
completely.
paying you to say that?
I can confirm or deny that, but I won't. But I won't.
Did you guys have $1 million dream? Is that what this is? Did
But-
you take the sleep?
To go along with that, talking about the other networks still airing that stuff, supposedly, you know, Vince McMahon's got all these different programs and all these different networks. I think he'd be a lot happier if they're all on one. So say like USA aired all the the wrestling stuff. So that way, people who had USA could watch all of it. Because right now, if you don't have, maybe your provider doesn't carry the Ion Network, so you can't watch Main Event. Or maybe they don't carry Sci-Fi or whatever, so you can't watch that show. He wanted to all be on one network. And so there's a reason to push people to get it. But no network wants to have 3 or 4 nights of wrestling. So
of course, that would interfere with Honey Boo Boo and American Idol and Dancing with the Stars.
Well, yeah, because they want to market to a wide variety of people, and if they just market to wrestling, they become known as a wrestling network, even if that's not what they're meant to be. But so, I could see if in the future, when these contracts come up to renew these programs, if Vince just doesn't do it and he moves them to the network, to the WWE network.
I wonder how many people will stop with their cable because it's the only reason they have it. You know there's some.
Probably some.
You know there's some.
Yeah, or there's people, or think about like people who don't have cable, and so they have to basically download everything, but they're like, oh, well, for $60, that's all I want to watch anyways, and I got plenty of shit to watch. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. Like, there are people I know who haven't watched wrestling since, like, we were in high school, but I told them about this. They're like, damn, I might buy that. That's a really good deal, because I can watch all the old stuff that was good back in the day.
And even, like, all the fucking reality shows that they have now are stupid as shit, like the Divas and all that bullshit, but some of those Tough Enough things that they did, where they got wrestlers that never actually fucking did anything, regardless, those shows were so good, especially the last one, because Stone Cold was the host, so you got to see him yell at people. That shit was great.
Yeah, I mean, and those shows will also be on that network, stuff like that. And there's even new shows that aren't out yet they're going to do. But they said all that reality stuff will still be on there if you want to watch it. But the good thing is that it's on demand. So if you don't want to watch it, you don't fucking have to deal with it. You can go download something else.
I'd like
Say
to
you want to
watch
watch
this now.
WrestleMania 2 or whatever.
Are they doing original programming? Did they mention anything about
Yes,
that?
they are, but they haven't announced what it was.
I hope that they get some of the old legends and do like a talk show type thing, because that would be awesome if you could get like fucking Jimmy the Superfly Snuka and Roddy Piper in the same room and just get them to talk about their old feuds and shit. That would be amazing.
That would be, man, I would love to watch that, to hear,
Yeah.
like, to me, like, one of the cool things about wrestling is, like, when you grow up as a kid, it's so real. And then there's that moment where you start to realize it's not. But, like, some
Wait,
of those...
What are you talking about?
I'm just, it's just a joke. Don't worry about it.
Oh, that's funny. You got me.
It's still real to me,
Still real to me. Side note.
What do you mean it ain't real? That's called an open hand slap.
Oh, man, that video.
Shane
God.
just slapped the air so hard that he pulled his headphones out of my computer. Side note, for those of you who listen to the old episodes of The Offenders and remember Mondo, he was actually at that very convention where Dave, what's his name, through his crying frenzy where he's like, it's still real to me, damn it! That big fat guy?
Yeah, I would love actually to hear Mondo's opinion on this. Like, if he's going to get it or what he thinks.
Dude, he lives right down the street. I mean, you know.
Just right down there. Hey, what do you think?
I'll be back in about 15 minutes. I'm going to get mine.
But yeah, I mean, like, I think this also leads into another thing, though. It's like, is this possibly, if this works out, is this a market, or maybe not a market, but a template for other industries like similar to wrestling that have like very, tight groups to do something similar, like kind of move away from a network based on TV and do these kind of apps so people can get it when they want it and do what they want to with it?
I'll tell you, the networks will go into blind fury and try and make it illegal or something, but
They already have been.
Yeah, they're constantly fighting against stuff like this. They hate the concept of DVRs and stuff because what happens is you're like, I'm going to DVR that and watch it later. You know what you don't watch? The fucking commercials. You know what they make their money on? The fucking commercials.
Yep.
And advertisers know that, and that's why they don't think they should have to pay as much for commercials anymore. I mean, even love it or hate it, Crunchyroll for anime is doing something kind of like this. You can get stuff on demand there and watch it. There are a lot of fucking ads.
Let me go back and say, I used to talk shit about Crunchyroll, but I don't give a shit. One of my friends gave me his Crunchyroll account because he doesn't use it anymore. That fucking website is amazing. I've watched the DD Fist of the North Star series. I watched Want to Be the Strongest in the World, which is a great all-women's pro wrestling anime for fans of Rumble Roses. And I saw the fucking Attack on Titan on there. There's so much shit you can watch on there.
Yeah, I mean, and like, the good thing about that is, like, it's led to things like simulcasting of anime that's airing in Japan. You get to watch at the same time in America.
Yeah,
like
that's a
Space
great
Dandy
service.
and Attack on Titan both did that. And that's cool because that means that, like, people in Japan are recognizing that America is a viable market to actually do that with.
Hell
So-
yeah.
And that's good. You know, it can only, you know, lead to good things to come from it.
Yes.
Hopefully it'll lead to maid cafes coming to the United States of America. There was already one in Detroit, I think.
Really?
What
Yeah.
a strange
Yeah, it didn't
first
last
place.
very
I was
long.
about to say, what a strange
It was
first
like
place to have
it was in the bad area of town, so they were
What
all
the
like,
hell?
they looked like that fucking Detroit song. It's so cold in the D. It was like a bunch of girls looking like that in maid dresses. I was like,
Was
what
it
the fuck is
was it like one of those ones where they're rude to you? They come in there, it's like, what the fuck do you want?
Secondary
Secondary
Sit
Get
down,
the fuck out of this cafe.
People just went in there and it's like,
motherfucker.
so
coming
you
in
just
here
hired
making me work.
maids? It's like every other fucking cafe
Yeah,
in
exactly.
town.
Is this McDonald's? I could have sworn this is McDonald's with maid outfits.
Fucking white motherfucker come in here. The fuck do you want?
Dude, whoa. You know what we should do?
That's so terrible.
We should pitch. Speaking of which, we should pitch to the WWE Network that the Nation of Domination gets their own cooking show from that very maid cafe.
Jesus.
God. Didn't Detroit also do like? Wasn't that where also the cuddle shops were?
Not in Detroit, but they do have those in Japan, and we will be visiting those and doing a report on those.
Ha! Or at least Evan will.
We will. I was going to say. I don't
Yes,
know.
we fucking will.
Yeah.
We're going to the fucking ear cleaning shops. We're going to the maid cafe. Cutie Relax.
Ear cleaning shop.
I mean, I'm not saying that like, you know,
It's
you're
just
not
funny.
going to them. I'm just questioning whether or not I'm going to partake in these. I mean,
Dude, you need to use the butt pillow.
What's the butt pillow?
You just pay to put your head on a girl's butt as a pillow and you just lay in there.
That's a great idea. How much does that cost?
I don't
It was pretty expensive from the article that I saw.
Now, I'll say this. I would pay for that as long as there's a no fart guarantee, because I'm going to want my money back if even a little bit slips out.
So I remember watching this documentary on Vice about like the sex industry in Japan, and like one of the guy went to one of those shops where they clean your ears, and he's sitting there talking. He's like, "Wow, she's really getting in there." He's like, "I think she's trying to touch my brain." Like, 'cause she's like fucking working at that ear. She's like digging in there. Like, she's looking for fucking gold.
Dude, I'll say this. The first time I ever went to it, I went to it immediately 3 days in a row afterwards. And then I had to leave the country, and I was like, fuck, I want to go another day.
The way that you said that, it's like, I went there 3 days in a row, then I had to leave the country. What the fuck did you do? What did you do in there?
I am American. This is mine. This is mine. I'm taking these women. Oh, you don't want me to have these women? You hate freedom. Have you ever met Jesus Christ? You need him in your life. Your baseball team sucks. Yankees forever.
And then, like, the ones who don't speak English are like, Yankees kuru. Like, I think you're talking about, like, the cool, like, 50s dudes.
Oh my god.
But no, I just had my trip was over with. But you should if you do nothing else, Kyle, you should go to the Mimikaki Cafe. It's not a cafe, but it's seriously one of the most relaxing things ever. Because I mean, when else do you get to put your face on a woman's lap and she cleans her ears? You're just sitting there relaxing. You have to worry about nothing. It's amazing.
I don't know if that'd be relaxing having somebody dig around in my head. That'd freak me out. Kind of.
Well, they never it never hurt when they did it to me. It was just always just like, it might have tickled a little bit once in a while, but it's just like, but that's about it. But most of it's my head's just like, dude, do you realize that your face is closer to a Japanese vagina than it's ever been before? And then I give myself a high five in my own head. Then I'm like, stop thinking about it. You're gonna get a boner. It's gonna be awkward.
I don't really think it would be awkward there. They're probably used to something like that.
Well, I try to be polite. Whoa, I digress. Back to WWE. So, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
Oh my god. So yeah, WWE Network. I think it's a pretty good thing. I think it, and the thing I remember reading too that Vince McMahon said that they need 800,000 people to subscribe for it to basically break even to start out with. I don't think that's gonna be a problem.
Dude, that's gonna happen. I'm gonna say that that's gonna happen within the first month, if not the first week.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because they're already taking subscriptions if people if they're almost already there.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people watch it. I'll say this: like, if you look at the numbers straight up, like Nielsen ratings, back in the day when they were doing like WCW versus WWF, you know, the Monday Night Wars, they were in the high sixes, maybe the sevens for the Nielsen's. Most of the stuff, I think, the highest that they've had this past year, 2013, was a 3.6. So it's a huge drop in viewership, but still, there's still not as many people are watching TV. That's still more people, because they released some kind of a message during Raw. It was like, we have more people watching wrestling than the Super Bowl and NBA playoffs combined, or something like that. But it was some kind of ridiculous number, so it's not as much as it used to be, but it's still a pretty fair amount.
Yeah, and see, I think also what they're hoping to bank on are things like these people who are either going somewhere to watch it or who are downloading it being like, oh, well, this is easier and it gives me a lot more. I'll spend the $10 and go do it. That's worth it. You know, some people are never going to do it anyways, but they're hoping on that. Or they're also probably hoping that, you know, a lot of times for these pay-per-view events, like we said, they're expensive, you know, $50-$60 for these pay-per-views. And a lot of times it'll be like one guy buys it or the group gets together, buys it, and watches it in one place. But if they could just say, rather than have like one guy buying one pay-per-view making $60, but have that group of 10 people each buy the thing for it, I mean, that's probably making them money doing that in the process. So they're probably hoping to make money on stuff like that.
And you know, I'm about to go pretty deep in the rabbit hole, but to me, I think this is going to be great because you're going to get people who are going to join this, and they're going to run out of, you know, Raws and SmackDowns to watch. So they're eventually going to go back to the old days, like the old territories, and they're going to see all the great wrestlers. You know, the Bruiser Brodies, the fucking just all the people back in the day that just took wrestling seriously and loved it before it was just a fucking soap opera and it wasn't just people standing around. And when they cut promos, they really fucking cut promos, like Dusty Rhodes back in the day. We almost hit Lady in the face for touching his fucking cowboy hat. And I'll tell you this, you know they're gonna see, yeah, that it's not as good as it used to be, yeah. And you know what? The cream of the crop is gonna rise to the top. Dig it!
So
it's going to raise the standards, man, because they're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? You should be awesome.
No, it won't. No, it won't. Because
Yeah,
you know what? You know what's going to happen?
What?
If they don't watch this, they're going to go and watch the Oh, he owns all of wrestling.
Yeah, there's really no competition.
But hopefully the viewers will come together as one and be like, this shit sucks. Well, never mind, they do that about Cena, and he's still there.
So this is my question: is like, at what point did this happen with wrestling? At what point did wrestling go from being like about like actual wrestling to these giant fucking soap operas? Was it when he won? Was it when he finally owned everything, or was it before that?
You know, I watched it up until the point that there was no other wrestling, so that's probably it.
There was a definite tipping point in the early 2000s because after that there was no more sense of competition. So it wasn't like it immediately sucked, but you'll notice 2000 forward it was a constant decline. There was not very many memorable things that happened from 2000 until this very year. I mean, there might have been one or two things here or there, but like if you look at like 96 through 99, fucking consistent quality material from both camps, from WCW and from WWF. But now it's just like, I think the most memorable thing I can fucking remember is Hulk Hogan coming back and wearing a mask. That was like 2003. If I can't think of something that's more memorable than that, I mean, TNA is great, but there's no way that TNA can actually compete with WWE just on the monetary basis. They do good for what they do, but it's not even the same league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in the same boat as Shane. Like, the moment that they announced on Raw that he had bought WCW, I was like, well, that's it. He won. I mean, I'm not going to watch anymore. I think I'll watch like 2 more weeks of Raw, and then I just was done. Because it was literally, I mean, maybe it wasn't quite out of nowhere, but I remember when it happened, it was just like, yeah, there's no Nitro tonight because Vince McMahon bought it.
Yeah, it was pretty shitty.
I was like, what? I mean, literally, like, what? Like, all those storylines were going to just stopped and ended because he bought Nitro, and it's like, I'm cutting it off. Boom. And, like, literally, it was the week after some of those stars started showing up on Raw.
Because so much changed. I mean, like, if you look at WCW, it was such a diverse type of entertainment. You had the luchadors, the featherweights, you know, the lightweights. You had Mexican-style lucha libre. You had normal American brawling wrestling. You had technicians like Benoit and Malenko. And now you just have the WWE standard of big muscular guys who don't really do a lot of moves, but they're just big and they're muscular, so Vince McMahon thinks that they're great.
And then Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio is just like, at least they got Mystico now, but it's not even really Mystico. Mystico came over and he injured himself or something. So now they took Mystico's name from him and got some other guy to do the fucking character, while Mystico got sent back to fucking Mexico without his goddamn name.
Wow.
Whoa, that's fucked up, man. Especially in like the Lucha Libre scene.
Yeah, it was. Well, I'll say this. Mystico, I don't know if they bought his name Mystico, but they bought his character Sin Cara. And Sin Cara belonged to Mystico, but now that he got kicked out of the WWE, he can no longer use Sin Cara. I think he can still use Mystico, though. But he was fucking amazing. He was so great to watch. He would do, like, corkscrew DDTs and, like, just the craziest arm bars you would see. Like, his move was like an arm bar off the top rope. It was insane. And there's wrestlers like that all over the world, like Chikara. Chikara is one of my favorite things these days to watch in wrestling in America, because they take the entertainment to a totally new level. Because, like, WWE has some stuff that's kind of entertainment, but they have a lot of hack type shit, like the fucking midget and the gobbledygooker and the stupid characters that don't even have jokes that are funny.
Hold on. The gobbledygooker?
The gobbledygooker is the big fat guy who comes out dressed up for Thanksgiving every year, and it's not funny, and nobody gives a shit except for, like, really old men and small children. But Chikara...
I don't even remember that. Is that like a newer thing? Has he always been doing that?
No, he's always been there, man. And fucking, I can't even remember the midget's name, but he's not even that funny. But it's not about, the point I'm getting at is, like, if you want to see something where the viewer's opinion is more representative, watch an indie like Chikara, where you actually laugh and you see good characters that people put a lot of thought into, as opposed to what Vince McMahon likes and wants to see on TV. Because that's all WWE is. They don't really give a shit about what we think. They just do what Mr. McMahon says.
Yes, sir, Mr. McMahon.
Mr. McMahon. Fucking Briscoe.
Yeah. I mean, it's been so long since I watched. I remember when TNA first started, I did watch a little bit of it, because that's when they had, like, they were wrestling in, like, an octagon or something. It was, like, some
weird... six-sided ring.
Yeah, that's right. It was a six-sided ring. It's like they're trying to be different. I don't think it lasted long. I think they use a normal ring now, don't they?
Yeah. Let me say this, though. If you're a fan of tag team wrestling, the fucking greatest series of matches in modern day wrestling was from TNA. It's when the Motor City Machine Guns went against Beer Money. They went through a 5-for-5 match, and it was like one tag team wrestling match per week for 5 weeks in a row. Those motherfuckers put their entire life on the line going into those matches, because Motor City Machine Guns are top notch. They could have been luchadors if they wanted to. Beer Money are just good, solid tag team, and it was two completely different styles, constantly complementing each other. So if for nothing else, TNA gets my hat off to them just for those series of tag team matches.
Yeah, I always liked kind of going back to the WCW talking, I always liked the Lucha Libre stuff, because it was, it's a lot different than American wrestling that you're used to, because like you said, it's just a bunch of guys bigger, throwing each other around, slapping them in the chest, stuff like that. The Lucha Libre is the kind of shit you watch, you're like, one wrong move and they're dead. I mean, they're just like cripple themselves.
Yeah.
These little tiny guys flying around the rings and shit. So,
like Hayabusa, one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers ever, a high flyer, slipped doing a moonsault on the middle rope, broke his fucking neck. Ooh. They told him he would never walk again. Dude, I straight up cried when I heard that. I'm not even gonna lie, because fucking he was an outstanding athletic performer, and they told him he was never going to walk again. I just found out last year he's getting up and walking. Oh. He's talking about putting the suit on and just walking to the ring one more time for like a goodbye. I was like, oh my god, hey, Bruce has got the fucking mask on. He's going to say you what.
How long ago did that happen?
2000, I think it was 2001, 2002. He broke his neck, but he was told that he would never ever walk again. But through the fucking pure human spirit, the power of the pure human spirit, he was like, fuck that, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk. And he got on crutches for a while, and he was in a wheelchair, but now he's walking and he's good, man.
They used to give him a cup of stem cells, let him drink them, he'll be fine.
What does a stem cell taste like, you think? Is it like a coffee flavor, fruit punch?
I don't know what it would taste like.
Chicken.
Everything tastes like chicken. I should have known.
So talking about like international wrestling, that kind of reminds me of something they discussed about the network, that when it first comes out, it's going to only be in America, but near the end of 2014 or early 2015, it should be in the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the Nordics as well. So, as someone who, it's been like I said, a long time. Do they go to these other countries and do shows also?
Yeah, they'll go international and do shows, like house shows and stuff there, but it's not something that happens very often.
Okay.
The only ones that actually have, to my knowledge, that have their own feds are like Japan, and they have a ton of great. That's the only shit that I ever even watch anymore is Japanese wrestling. But the thing is, most of the other countries don't do very much stuff. I mean, some of them do like MMA type stuff, but as far as professional wrestling, that's mostly like America. To my knowledge.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. And I talked about this before the podcast, but I was like, I'm surprised Japan's not in there. But like you said, they have much better.
They have their own.
Dragon Gate, New Japan, All of Japan, Hustle, Dream. Fucking Inoki has his own IWGP. There's so much good stuff over there.
Would that also probably be why this isn't going to be in Mexico or anywhere in Latin America because they have their own?
Yeah, AAA. What is it? CCCP and AAA are like the two big Lucha Libre places down there. That shit's amazing. Can you imagine how fucking cool it must be to be like, okay, I've got to go to court today for a speeding ticket. Let me put on my luchador mask and my business suit so I can go pay it. And it's totally legit! Those dudes never take their masks off. They go to fucking Burger King or wherever the fuck. Do they even have those in Mexico?
I'm sure they do. They have them everywhere.
They go to the fucking restaurants with their masks on. They never fucking take them off.
That reminds me of that role-playing game.
El Santo, yeah. The movie star.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was a movie star in every movie. I mean, he's a wrestler, but he always wore a mask in every movie. He wore the El Santo outfit.
Either him or the Blue Demon, I think, actually got buried in their mask.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
That's handy, I guess, because if ever you want to go out and not be bothered, you just don't wear it.
Yeah.
And no one would know who the fuck you are.
Exactly.
Nah, they'd know, because you'd have sunburn. You'd have a tan where the mask could be seen. That guy must be a luchador. How can you tell? Look at the tan on his face. It looks like he's got a mask on. White skin.
They're Mexican. They don't have white skin, dumbass.
Ooh, shit. He just called her a piece of fucking shit. Another wrestling pun.
I'm sorry, Shane. I don't see color like that. I don't see color in people.
You don't see color? So you're colorblind.
Way to go touch on something I'm very sensitive about.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings? Good!
You know, you two sit here talking about colors, and that's the last thing that I give a shit about, because that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
What were you going to say about a game, though, Shane?
The aberrant role-playing game, you remember that, where they were, like, legally their identity as heroes is what they were going around as?
Yeah, they had
it's to like, if you had to sue them, you had to sue Infinity Justice or something like that.
Yeah, because they had this organization to sign up with their names for, so they would be known as that. And like somebody would try to sign up for a name that somebody else had, and they couldn't. Then they would go to court to fight over the name. Like, no, I'm the Blazing Demon. Fuck you. I was the Blazing Demon first. I'm suing your ass for that name. And they would go to court over it.
Dude. Now think about this. Okay, now in Mexico you can go to court with your mask on. Imagine if you could take facets of wrestling and apply them to everyday life. Like, you just get ready to go to fucking Wendy's to get a hamburger, and like the fucking Rick Rude music plays, and you walk through, and everybody looks at you, and you're like, "Oh, you stupid, lazy Mississippi sweat hogs! Clear the line so I can get my cheeseburger." Hit the fry cook. Boom. That would be amazing.
That would be hilarious. So that means if you went to court with another like wrestler, then it's just like your lawyers are wrestlers too, and they're just sitting there, and like the lawyer says something, it's like, well, obviously he's the one that killed him. And all of a sudden, the other lawyer just gets up on the table, he jumps to the other and elbows, and is like, objection!
And like the lawyer starts sucking, he's like, I don't got this, so he tags the other lawyer who comes in, who's fresh and is ready for his own. We are making the fucking coolest world ever. Yes. Can we just go live there?
But like, imagine like halfway through this trial, after the other lawyer's been tagged in, and then the other lawyer who just got tagged out, they both start to like, pitch at the same time to defend their guy, and out of nowhere, one of the attorneys knocks the other one out and just like betrays him. Like he goes and joins the defense, and joins the prosecution side, like throws everybody for a loop.
And then, like, after the judge declares them guilty, all of a sudden the fucking doors fly open and, like, 5 dudes run in and start beating up the fucking bailiff and shit. They're like, oh no, it's a run-in! International objects! And they just start beating up the people and the guy runs out of there. And
then
he
out of
fucking gets
nowhere,
off.
like, the Latin American announcer's table gets broken. Like,
Yes.
it's gotta happen.
How did that fucking happen? The Spanish announce table always gets killed.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you remember
first-
the one? Do you remember the one time, the one pay-per-view where it's the only table that didn't get broken?
No.
You don't remember it?
No.
It happened one time.
I
It's the
don't.
only one that never got touched.
Oh my god.
I think it's one of those things like it became a running joke. Like it didn't mean to be like it just happened. Like it probably didn't happen every week for like a year straight. It happened, but often enough it was like, oh no, the Spanish announce table. So it became a joke, and they realized it was a joke, so they just made it happen on purpose then because of that. You know, it became a trope that they had to like fulfill was crushing the Spanish announce table.
Dude, could you imagine? Huh?
I was always like the look on the 2 Spanish announcers were always just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Why is it us?
Yeah.
So imagine, if you will, you're out in a nightclub, you're having a good time, and a drunk guy bumps into you. And he's like, hey, what's your fucking problem? What are you fucking looking at? And then you're just like, hey, man, play it cool. I don't want any part of this. And he shoves you. And then everybody goes, and you're like, okay, it's about to go down. So you take it outside. And the guy's standing up, and he rushes to fucking bum rush you. Then all of a sudden, blue mist flies out of your fucking mouth. And he instantly gets put to sleep. Fucking Dokugiri out of nowhere at a bar fight. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to carry Dokugiri with me everywhere. I got to start training the glands in my throat. I'm never going to throw another punch. I'm just going to spit viscous fluids at people with a fucking variety of different detrimental health effects.
I used to imagine the first time you go to spit somebody, they go to punch you in the mouth at the same time. You're blowing it, just like you get like starts choking on it because it gets stuck in your throat.
I actually wanted to happen. So, and then I'll just go around and be like, "Fucking Evan, what's wrong with Evan? He's a fucking status effect boss. I hate them."
That's right. I'll make one up. It'll be like brown mist or something, and I'll blow it on him, and a fucking clock appears over there. Like,
Doom!
Condemnation!
Oh, condemnation.
Oh my god, that'd be so awesome.
Wrestling in real life. I mean, there's so many great things that could come from that too. Just like imagine you're sitting in you're in a classroom and somebody walks in there to take the test, and before he goes and sits down, he sits there and he basically just goes off on some tangent about how he's doing this for all those students out there, all you little students out there. I'm doing this test for you. I'm gonna take this test and I'm gonna lift it high in the air and I'm gonna fucking slam it through this desk.
And that will be the genius, ladies and gentlemen. Lanny Poffo, Macho Man's brother, the genius.
Macho Man had a brother? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was the genius from back in the 80s. The guy who came out. The guy they've got now, Damian Sandow's kind of doing the same gimmick. He's really funny. I really like him. But yeah, back in the day, he was named the Genius.
I don't even remember that. I don't think I ever saw him.
Look him up, dude. Before I forget, I had to mention, there's a guy who does a podcast called The Nerdist. His name's Chris Hardwick. He has a show, and they had this, it's after midnight on Comedy Central or something, but he had a contest where you would have to make up the funniest pun name for a wrestling TV show, but you could only use wrestlers. And I just wanted to share a couple of those with you that I personally loved. Jimmy Mouth of the South Park. Brutus the Barber Beefcake Wars.
Oh, okay. You're supposed to use them for other TV show that's there. Okay.
Every Day with Rachel Ray Mysterio. You can go on all day with these. It's fucking amazing. CM Punked.
Nice.
Yeah, I spent a whole night at work. My friend told me about that, and I went back to my desk. I was like, how many of these can I come up with?
Yeah, I was taking a look at the Genius. Like, seeing him, I've never seen this guy before, but yeah, he obviously looks like he's related to the Macho Man.
Leapin' Lanny Poffo. He was called Leapin' Lanny Poffo before he was the Genius.
Yeah. He was a damn Canadian. Wait a minute, is the Macho Man a Canadian? That's terrible.
What the hell are you talking about? He's from Sarasota, Florida. Dang it! How about Las Vegas?
See, now I'm questioning if his brother is born in Canada. Is he born in Canada too?
Man, the Macho Man is from the hearts of the American people. That's where he's from.
He's from.
Just for the listeners out there, I have to share a quick story. I used to be in a band, a really crazy metal band called Monster Party, and we went on tour for like 2.5 weeks. We went from Georgia all the way out to Texas. Well, for the entire state of Alabama, I painted a beard on my face, got some sunglasses, a cut-up yellow T-shirt, and a big headband, and I acted like Macho Man Randy Savage for the entire state, from one side of Alabama to the other. We went to like Red Lobster, and I ordered everything. I was like, tell me about the swordfish you got over there. Does it taste like madness? The whole fucking thing. I think you can still find pictures of it online. I'll try and share that with you guys. But like, some people would just be like, who the fuck is this guy? But like, every now and then I would walk into like a gas station and be like, tell me where the Slim Jims are. Yeah. They'd be like, Macho Man Randy Savage! Oh, man!
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was like one of the funnest, like, 2 or 3 days of my life. Just acting like Macho Man Randy Savage all day long. It's amazing.
Before his death or after his death?
It was before his death. I cried when he died at work. I, like, went into a cubicle away from everybody. I was like, the fucking tears came out of my wide open eyes, anime style.
It's not funny that you cried. It's funny that you said, I went into a cubicle all by myself. That's what was funny.
I didn't want to be around anybody. I was like, oh, fucking Macho Man.
Evan, are you crying? I can just see them come up to you like, the call couldn't have been that bad, Evan.
Nobody came over, man. I pulled that shit out. When I came back over, I obviously had the very red eyes there. Like, did you get much sleep last night? I was like, yeah, I didn't sleep much. That's all. I got allergies. But then I would see somebody who knew about wrestling and be like, dude, fucking Macho Man, dog.
Yeah, Macho Man was born in Columbus, Ohio, so he was an American. He's acceptable still.
Oh, okay then.
He has some of the best promos. Like, the shit he would come up with was ingenious. Like, there was one where he was, right before he fought Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, he was like, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, yeah. And all you see is this giant cape. He's wearing this giant cape. He's like, you come out here and you're nothing but a flash in the pan. You're nothing but, and he opens his cape and he's got a whole fucking trash can. He says, like, you're nothing but garbage. And I'm like, how the fuck did he carry a whole garbage can in his cape? He was amazing, man. Nothing but garbage.
I always wonder, too, with some of the wrestlers like him, like, how much of his, like, how much of that's an act? Like, how many of the, like, little, you know, movements and stuff he does is real and how much of it's fake? You know, and it's hard to gauge. Because when most of the time they're doing interviews, they're in character. Like, even when they're not wrestling interviews, just still wherever, they're in character doing them.
There's one. This is going to sound really stupid, but there's one that I found on YouTube because, like, I was looking for every Macho Man interview that I could find. And there's one, I think it was from, like, 2001. He was just wearing a red T-shirt, and he was just talking like this the whole time. He was being totally normal. You know, he didn't none of this! You know, it was just totally normal. I was like, holy fuck, I thought it's like Bobcat Goldthwait. You assume that he's like, the whole time, but he has a normal voice.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Was that the
Ultimate Warrior
WrestleMania
talks
3
like that
fight
all the
you were
time.
talking about, too, with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat?
Say what?
Was that the WrestleMania 3 fight you were talking about?
Yes, it was, dude.
The only reason I knew that was because when I was at this Wikipedia page, and there's like a whole section about that ordeal. Because it was like, after 19 2-count, Steamboat pinned Savage to end his near 14-month reign as Intercontinental Champion.
Steamboat was a fucking machine.
Yeah, he
Jake
was.
the Snake Roberts DDT'd him on the fucking concrete. He moved the fucking mat out of the way and DDT'd him on straight concrete. He was like, yeah, I knew I messed up because I picked him up and it was dead weight. And I was like, oh, shit. He picked him up dead weight. He had seriously fucking concussed Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah, man, this is actually kind of interesting talking about that match. It says the match was extremely choreographed as opposed to the on-the-fly nature of most wrestling matches at the time, because Savage was a stickler for detail, and he and Steamboat laid out and rehearsed every spot in the match prior to WrestleMania at his home in Florida.
Yeah,
Wow.
you could tell he was a technician, man. He was very precise with everything he did.
I mean, that's true. I mean, like, it's one of those things, like, to be in the industry as long as he was, you know, back in the day when you had to be good, you could tell somebody was good. I mean, you don't have to be good now.
Yeah, you just have to look good.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like so many of those wrestlers, that's one reason I stopped watching. Because, like you said, it's the John Cena's.
I'll say this:
crap.
John Cena is one of my least favorite wrestlers of all time, but he is a very good human being. He goes to see little kids in the hospital. Occasionally, he'll say something nice on the news. He seems like a really nice guy, but
You don't like his character.
his character sucks. It's not enthralling. It's not somebody I just go, I want to see him get his fucking ass kicked. And it's not somebody I say, man, that's a hell of a nice guy.
I don't want to see him.
Exactly.
That's the
it's
problem.
Like, it's not Jeff Jarrett level yet, because for those of you who don't know, I think Jeff Jarrett is probably the worst wrestler ever, because I would see him on there and I would just turn off wrestling because he just sucks so much that I couldn't even hate him. That's how bad. I'm going to get you, slap nuts. Don't piss me off. Guys, what a fucking idiot. That's not even funny. I mean, you see some bad wrestlers like Doink the Clown that just sucked, and you're like, it's a fucking clown, and he had a fart move off the top rope, but Jeff Jarrett, he just sucked.
Yeah, I can't help but think the reason Jeff Jarrett's still around is that, like, he made a deal with the devil or something, because I've never liked him.
His dad owns TNA, I think.
There were occasions when he did stuff that was interesting.
You know who did it better? The fucking Honky Tonk Man, because he had the character first, goddammit.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
But yeah, I gotta say, this is definitely a cool time to be alive, because, as a professional wrestling fan, it's fucking awesome to see something like this happening, because they're taking a step over and beyond because there's no fucking Lifetime on demand channel. There's no Nickelodeon on demand channel.
Oh my god, a Lifetime on demand channel?
Oh, you know it's coming, dude. Once they have wrestling, women are gonna be so mad, they're gonna be like, what is this bullshit? Let's get some stories about cops who abuse their fucking women. So we can cry all day and hug each other and paint our nails.
You summed up every Lifetime story.
It's an abusive cop who beats the shit out of his wife, and then she kills him and gets in trouble and goes to jail, and she gets cancer and dies.
The best
Yeah,
thing about that
literally
is
every
it's not
Lifetime.
even an exaggeration. Like the one time I saw a show where something bad was happening to a guy, somehow it was still his fault on that show.
Yep.
Or he was gay.
I mean, I don't get it.
And I like some cheesy movies. The Lake House with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, I fucking love it. It's one of the most beautiful romantic fantasy movies of all time. I can watch it 1,000,000 times. But you try to get me to watch Lifetime, you might as well ask me to shit out an ostrich, because you got about the same chance of either of those happening.
I wonder if I could imagine, the people who like to guess what's going to happen. It's like, could you imagine you're watching one of those shows with your girlfriend? She's like, who do you think the bad guy is? It's like, which one has the penis? It's that guy.
You almost sounded like a mafia guy. Hey, which one has the
Which
penis?
one has the penis?
Which one's
it's
got
that
the fucking couillons?
Yes.
Oh, man.
But yeah, WWE is leading the way. They're fucking trailblazing, dude.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. So February 24th, for those of you who are interested. And for those of you who aren't interested, you've just listened to us talk about wrestling for 45 minutes.
What kind of fucking
Got you,
loser are you?
suckers.
Just listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
For 45 minutes talk about shit you don't even care about.
So, since you don't care, let me make sure that you do care. Go look up The Great Muta. You're welcome.
Actually, if you've actually listened to us this entire time, I would like you to send an email just letting me know, because otherwise, I don't think anybody did. I think everybody was just like, wrestling, fuck this, close.
I wonder if it made them so mad that they stabbed their mother and cut their own penis off.
Oh, that's a story for another time, son. That's a story for another time. We'll talk about that next week.
True. But, I mean, think about it. Let me just say this, not to toot our own horn too much, but we did get black people into heaven for the Mormons.
That's right. If nothing else,
Maybe they'll start liking wrestling because we said it.
open the way.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it then for this episode of the Offenders Podcast. So if you want to email us, actually, I'm not going to say if you want to email us. If you listen to this part, email us. It's offenderspodcast@gmail.com. If you didn't listen to this part, then I hate all of you. I'm just going to put it out there. Because you know what? You'll never know because you're not listening, so fuck you. All right. So until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm the ultimate warrior, filled the rocket ship to go into the heavens. Sitting next to me is a man from parts unknown.
It doesn't matter what your names are.
Have a good one.